What's up, everyone? This is the Unrestricted Podcast, because here with us,
anything goes.
And you'll see that anything truly does go. And today's episode, we want to start off speaking about micromanaging. I know we have a ton of experience with micromanaging. I'm sure you guys do too, so you guys will follow along. Hopefully give us some of your experience as well. So, micromanaging. I'll allow you to start because I know you have just as much as I do as far as experience. So, fill us in.
Well, what is even the purpose of micromanaging? Like, why do people do that? I guess my one true experience with it was back when I was in the military, and we had this, higher ranking superior, he was like our supervisor, if you will. And it was like every single thing had to be just like come together in a meeting so that way we could break it all down. And
Sorry. I just noticed a little bit. Go ahead.
So, like that everything could be broken down as if like we're not already grown ass adults. You know what I mean? Like, I understand like get together in the morning if needed and kind of put the plan out there, but then let everybody execute it. Like, this guy was notorious for pretty much gathering us all together like every fucking hour on the hour. Okay, did this get done? What else needs to be done? What are you guys doing? And it's like, bro, we're on a ship in the middle of the water.
Yeah.
We're not fucking going anywhere. We have plenty of time to get this shit done. Like, get off our backs. And I just feel like, what is the purpose of being someone who is a micromanager? Like, what are you gaining from that?
Yeah.
I personally feel like it shows that you don't trust your people to do the job, or, pretty much in general. It's like, you just don't think that they have what it takes to get it done. And at that point, it's like, if you want it done right, do it yourself. So get the fuck up and do it yourself is, my thoughts. But it's like, I get it. You have to delegate, blah, 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 whatever. You're a superior. That's all good and fine. But why do you have to be so far up everyone's ass?
Yeah.
And just like not let them be? I feel like you will get a much better worker if you just lay off.
Yeah. I think it's definitely like when people, like, I know like in the military, a lot of people from the jump, like, you get tired of being told what to do on a daily basis. And it's like, how do you, what's the quickest way to get to the point where you're not being told what to do every day? And that's to promote, because they pitch like to you so much. Once you're this, you can delegate, and you can basically run the ship how you want to run it. And that's like what's like popular to people, because they want less of a workload, but they want all the power, and they want their power to be displayed like 24/7. They want everyone to know around them that I'm the guy, I'm the girl, whatever, like I'm the shit. Like, you're going to listen to me. You're going to do what I say. You're going to do it how I, tell you to do it, whether it's right or wrong. Especially with this generation of people that get into those spots, like a lot of people without a lot of experience. So a lot of people are out here micromanaging just solely to display power and be able to like go home every day and just feel like I'm the shit, I'm whatever, I'm 20 something years old and I'm in this spot, like, because that's where I was supervising a lot of people at a young age, but I tried doing it the right way. But I've seen a ton of people the same age as me doing it, and just solely being able to like doing it to go home and like tell their spouse, like, I'm the shit, like I do this, I just tell them to do it, and they jump when I say jump, like, and that's
a huge power trip.
Yeah, and that's the most annoying part. And you kind of think it stops when you get out. You kind of think like, it can't be to that volume when you get out. But you go to these same jobs and it's literally the same thing. Maybe not.
Would you think it's worse? Military versus civilian life?
I don't know if it's worse. I think it's just it's more ridiculous to see it in civilian life. Because in civilian life, like, human to human, like, we're both the same, dude. Like, or we're both like chick, we're the same. Like, in the military, like, yeah, there's ranking and stuff like that. So you do, if you're a high ranking person, you do have some kind of power, some kind of authority over someone, like legitimate authority, not just like, hey, I'm your manager. like shut the fuck up and listen to me and do this, like, but that's how people out here still try to run their businesses and wonder why people come and go and why they're not respected, why they're not appreciated, why they're not listened to. And I don't understand it on the outside. I don't know what you think. You have like some more outside work experience than me, so do you think it's more ridiculous like on the outside?
I guess it's a little hard for me to kind of say because I really only had that one major experience when I was in the military. And it was, I was young at the point. I think at that point I was 21 to 23. So I was, like kind of in my own world. I followed guidelines and rules, but I was also like, I don't really care. Like I'm so young, I'm living my life. I left home when I was 18. So it's like, I was just doing the most. And it's like, that was my first real, like, I guess experience with micromanaging.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, like it's such a power trip. Like, do you honestly feel good about the way that you run your, campaign or whatever it is, that you want to call it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you got to know these people don't give a shit about you. I feel like you have to know that. Like, if you were in that position, like if you are the superior and you were in that position where you had somebody micromanaging you and just constantly on your ass and just expecting this, that, whatever, like what's the status?
Yeah.
And it's like that didn't bother you or piss you off or just overwhelm you. I feel like it's so overwhelming to just constantly be on somebody and expect them to just always be like at your beck and call.
Yeah.
I feel like you've had a super recent experience with that, currently almost.
Yeah, I mean, to this day it is still current. I did get screwed over in another job, as you know. I'm not really going to speak on that situation, but looking for another job, that suited me. I landed upon this thing where I thought, like, we both thought, ideally, like, this is the job, that we've been looking for, that I'm going to be able to progress, rise up the ranks and do all this stuff. It was pitched to me like in this amazing way. And there was a few things as far as like from the beginning, like, oh, you're going to have to come to like meetings maybe 2-3 times a week, and this was before I knew what the meetings were about and all that kind of stuff. And
also this is the location that's 45 minutes away from where we live.
So yeah, already asking a lot of someone that, lives 45-50 minutes away, whatever the case is, to come 2 to 3 times a week. That's already asking a lot. But I'm thinking, okay, whatever, 2-3 times, fine. And then I get in the groove of this job, start going, working full time for this guy, young dude, not much older than me. And it turns out like he wants all of his employees, at this location for meetings every single day. And that's not what was pitched to me, but that's the kind of micromanaging that you get out of here. Like, people want you somewhere every day of the week just so that they can have pointless meetings, they can have their voice be heard, they can, they can act like they're high and mighty, like they have everything figured out, and that you have to go see them and hear from them every day to do the job. Like, that's their way of thinking. That's his way of thinking, that you show up every day to be successful when you go out to the work field. Mm-hmm. If you don't come here to this meeting and hear what I have to say every day.
On repeat, essentially, because it's the same topics being discussed every single day.
Yeah, because, I mean, you guys know, like, whatever place you work in, like, the day-to-day operations typically don't change. Maybe like month to month or 6-month periods, but every day thinking that you're going to have a meeting and people can't go be successful unless they hear the same thing out of your mouth every day. Like, that's what I'm dealing with right now. That's the micromanaging experience that I'm having right now. And it literally, it's to the point where we don't even like understand why or how it makes any sense, because I mean, it's a sales job just to be transparent. So obviously being out in the field and getting sales is the thing you're supposed to be doing. But if I'm on the schedule from this time to this time and I'm not showing up to my place of like work until 2 hours after my, scheduled start time.
And this is already driving 45 minutes here for the meeting and then having to drive another, like, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour in the opposite direction to go to the field to sell what you're supposed to be selling.
And it's pitched, like this amazing thing, and everyone's a team and all this stuff. And I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. You're already working behind the curve. You've already lost out on hours of sales time, morning traffic, all this kind of stuff. And then, like, God forbid you show up late to a meeting for any reason, car issues or personal issues, traffic, or
even how about on your day off?
Oh, yeah. And
you're expected to go in on your day off. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not fucking going anywhere on my day off. Like, everyone can fucking suck a butt, because that's not happening.
And a lot of people, they do, like, because they want to be productive, they won't take like a Sunday off. They want their days off to be in the week. Mm-hmm. But then he still expects you to show up on those days. Mm-hmm. Say you have Tuesday, Wednesday off. He's going to get pissed off if you're not there Tuesday and Wednesday, both days off, for meetings that you're just going to literally clock in for an hour and a half, and then clock out and go home.
Yeah.
And for me, home would be 45 minutes away after I just drove 45 minutes for a pointless meeting that I'm just going to go home now, and my morning's been pretty much spent.
And you got maybe what, like $30 for that meeting, just being there at that meeting? Like, I'm sorry, with the way gas prices are in California, take your fucking money, take your fucking meeting, and let's just forget this ever happened.
Yeah, so it's, like I said, it still does exist out here, and maybe that's like something for you, some people to realize if you guys are in the service, like, and thinking about getting out and thinking like, all this stuff in the service can exist on the outside. That's why they're two separate entities, but trust me, it does exist on the outside. Even if you think something's ideal, it does exist on the outside, and sometimes it's even more stupid. Like, the experience I'm dealing with right now is 10 times more stupid than any experience I had in the service. And I thought the service was like some of the worst experiences as far as like management as I would ever see. But it turns out it's not the case. So just think, it's not always better getting out, just saying, like, if you feel like you're in the worst spot, trust me, there's worse spots out there.
That's true.
Yeah. And I guess kind of transition here into the work environment, but it could happen at work. It could happen in your personal life. And that's people switching up, disrespect, coming at you the wrong way. However you define switching up, I know us, we kind of agree on the same thing. Switch up on us, we take it as disrespect, no matter really how it came across. We think it's disrespectful. So, do you have any highlighting experiences with people switching up? Like, I know you don't tolerate it really, but, like, do you have any, like, one or two, like, real, highlighting spots in your life where people switched up?
Well, I just want to pretty much define my intake on what switching up is, and it's basically when somebody is one way to your face. They're chill with you, they're cool, hey, like, fucking bro or whatever, like, we're buddies and shit, like, let's fucking meet up after work, like, you guys are legit friends, you guys are cool with each other. But then the switch up happens because something may have happened, with the job or this or that, and they're just like, okay, like, they're just pulling back now all of a sudden. So they just switched up on you, and it's like, well, what happened? Like, I thought we were friends, I thought we were bros, what happened? Like, why are you being fake now?
Yeah.
And I just feel like, if I'm gonna be real honest with you, like, I like to consider myself like pretty upfront. Like, I don't like to sugarcoat things. Like, I'm very real. I'm very blunt, especially, with my friends. Like, they definitely know when I speak to them, I'm speaking with, I don't even know, like, the word to put it, but it's like, I try to be very real with what I say, what I feel. I don't like to be fake, and, basically, like, where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, in my earlier years, like in my 20s, I pretty much gave a shit what everybody thought. I was very concerned with, how they felt about me, opinions about me. I took it very seriously. And I'm one of those, I'm a people pleaser. I like to make people happy, and you just can't make everyone happy,
Yeah.
and it's like, I just tried to do the most and just basically cater myself to everyone else's needs.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, okay, these people who I thought were my friends, you're cool with me to my face, this and that. But then I find out later on, you're playing both fucking sides here,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, when I call you out, then you want to get loud and get in my face. And it's like, oh, but you had no problem talking shit behind my back to
Yeah.
so and so. But when I'm confronting you, now it's a problem. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, why were you being so fucking fake to my face, being my fucking friend? And, I got your back and this and that, no matter what happens. Like, you have my support, blah, 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 whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then 2 seconds later, you're on the phone with the other person saying the fucking exact opposite.
Yeah.
This is like a real life story. This actually really fucking happened. There was a situation, and this person was on the phone telling me one thing, then got off the phone with me, told the other person the other thing, and then that person calls me saying, this is what was said. And I'm like, you fucking bitch. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot be straight up. And I just like think that's so ridiculous. Like, why the fuck are you like that? Does that make you feel good? Like, do you feel fucking cool or something? Like, you're playing both sides. You look dumber than shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, when I go and I get in your face and confront you about it, and I'm just like, why you gotta fucking talk shit, or, leave shit alone? Like, it's none of your fucking business. Like, why do you gotta know everything,
Yeah.
And then you wanna go and call me a fake ass bitch and try to fucking fight me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, like, you're a fucking dumbass little girl. Sit the fuck down. Like, grow up. You have a fucking child too. Like, and you're acting like that.
Yeah.
I just, like, I'm not about it. I don't fucking care. These days, I'm just like, if you don't fucking like me, that's fine. I don't care. Keep your opinions to yourself, or say it to my face.
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've had a lot of experience, but I don't really want to talk about it like at a young age, because my young age, everyone was young around me typically. So it's like, okay, whatever. Like, you expect a lot of young people to make mistakes, a lot of young people to, just be out there, be wild. But getting a little bit older and then being in, situations where people are younger than me, it's like, obviously you've matured, like, or I've matured, but the people around me haven't. So like, if I'm in their presence and it's all like, man, like, we need to hang out, Skylar, like, I want to, like, you're a real dude, you're a real homie, like, I want to hang out with you, like, outside of this environment, or we need to go get a drink, we need to, like, do whatever, like, and it's all cool and stuff like that. But as soon as, like, something happens where you're no longer in that environment on the daily, then all of a sudden, like, you don't get no, like, text, they're not hitting you up anymore, like, hey, we need to hang out, like, remember, you were the real homie to me, and all this stuff. Like, all of a sudden, like, you're nothing.
It's just ghosted at this
Yeah,
point.
like, and I don't and I understand, like, that's how younger people are, whatever, like, they say things come and go, people come and go. And as an older kind of, like, person, like, I don't respect it. I take it as disrespect. Like, don't tell me I'm a real homie, because I'm not going to tell you you're a real homie, or you're, like, my real friend. Like, you're fucking, someone that is a ride or die, and then something happens, or you go elsewhere, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't ever hit you up to this day. Like, if I still run into someone, or I come across someone, like, they post something maybe, and I'm like, oh, like, let me hit them up and see how they're doing. Like, that's my thought process. But I could be posting it, like, everything, and like, these people are liking it, but never a text, never anything like, hey man, we need to hang out, like, remember we never got the chance, or whatever. And that's like the biggest form. Like, I'd rather you just, like, plain out just text me once and just say, hey, forget about all that, forget what I said, like, I can't stand you, or I don't like you, or like, I'd rather
I feel
that.
like people can't be like upfront like that though,
Yeah, and it's, I mean, maybe that's where age difference comes into factor too a lot. Maybe they look at me like, oh, I don't want to come off like that, because what if this guy, like, doesn't play that, like, what if that's, like, his level of disrespect, you know. So I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to let it be. I'm not going to reach out or anything. But to me, that's the biggest form of disrespect, is you just kind of ghosting me. And, you know, after you it made me feel like I was a real friend to you. And then, you know, and I'm the type that's not going to just, as tired as I get of it, I'm not going to hit you up. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to be the one to be like, hey man, let's hang out. You know, remember me. Like, I'm not going to beg for your time and attention. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, especially like at this age. Like, I'm mature enough to be like, hey, I mean, I've had great friends from childhood days to nowadays. It's all about status to them. You know, I'm not going to hang out with this person because I can't post this picture where it looks like we're at some restaurant eating $200 steaks and drinking expensive wine or something. Like, I'm not going to like hang out with that person because that person doesn't do those things, you know, and I can't post about it and look a certain way. So I'm never going to hit up that guy, even though we were friends since fourth grade, fifth grade. Now I'm just going to, I've already moved on. Like, that person didn't do anything wrong to me, but I'm just going to move on from them and then hit them up when it's convenient, when I'm in town, or, you know, when I'm close, or something that makes sense to them. But 99% of the time, I don't hear from those people anymore, because I'm not the type that's out there doing all this extravagant stuff, because that's never who I've been. But so, I mean, people are going to switch up. I accept it, but it's crazy the amount that you can do for people and like help them out, be there, be that person to them. And it's never like that favor is never returned.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like,
I feel like there's a lot of like take in relationships, and relationships are friendships, you know, partnerships, whatever, you know, whatever you want to define it as. But I feel like there's not a lot of like reciprocating going on. It's very much like me, do this for me, you know, I want this, like satisfy me in whatever I want, you know, but like nobody's willing to just like give some of their time to another person.
yeah, that's true. I guess, I don't know. I mean, I think I value my time a lot too. So I don't know. I don't know really how to speak on the people that just leave you high and dry, as if like maybe you're just not worth their time. I don't know. Maybe they value their time and you don't fit into their life or their schedule or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I don't really dig into it. I just take it as disrespect. And it doesn't really have to stem too far. You know, it's not like you do just a little bit of that. Like, if that's who you are and that's your character, like, I kind of just cut ties right then and there. That is far enough for me. I don't need it to go any further for me to see that, okay, like, you're not my boy, like, you're not who I thought I was, like, that's fine. You know, I don't know, like, if you have a certain point that is like too far, is it, you know, are you real lenient with it, or are you not? Like,
I mean, I feel like honestly, in your 20s, it's a lot easier to like hang out with people, you know, and you have your ongoing friendships, you have less responsibilities. This is just my personal opinion, because I feel like in my 20s, everything was so easy. You know, of course you have your responsibilities, but the list seems to grow the older you get.
yeah.
And it's like now I just feel like, you know, if I'm trying to hang out with a friend or hang out with somebody, like, I'm being very genuine about it. I'm like, hey, you know, we haven't hung out in so long, like, let's make plans. But then I get to a point where like it's like a constant like I guess like trying on my end, like, hey, like, let's plan this, let's plan this, let's plan this. But then if it gets to the point where like it just doesn't happen, or like you're doing your own thing every single weekend, then I'm just like, okay, well, I don't fit in with your life anymore. And like, that's completely fine. You know, I'm not saying like, oh, we're not friends, but we just kind of like took different paths, if you will, you know, like, it just gets a little bit harder to hang out when you get older, and, you know, things change. It's like work gets hectic and it takes up a lot of your time, you know, and so you really only have limited time to do things. And it's like, for me personally, if I want to hang out with a friend, you know, like, I want to make time for you, like, I'm literally carving out 1 hour, 2 hours, half a day, whatever it may be. I'm carving that out of my schedule that I consider to be very busy, like
Yeah.
we have to keep up our own household, like we don't have housekeepers and whatever, we have to keep up with our own everyday life, and we both work full-time jobs as well. So our time is very limited on like what we do outside of, the weekly basis anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I'm just like, I just feel like I get to a point where I guess I stopped trying. I like sounds kind of bad, but I'm just like, fuck it. Like, if we just don't have time for each other, then I mean that's okay. That's
Yeah.
fine. But I'm gonna give up at some point, and I'm just gonna be like, if you want to chill, like let me know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm just gonna fucking be here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess commonalities and some of the stuff we talked about is, the one common thing is kind of growing up, the difference in when you were young or when people are young compared to like being grown up now. Kind of in the work environment or just in general, if what do you think the difference is if you grow up like around hard workers, you grow up being a hard worker versus none of that? Like you don't see like your dad or your mom or whoever you're raised by wasn't really a hard worker. You didn't really take on that kind of mentality growing up. Like what do you think the difference is there, like between a hard worker growing up that way and someone that just doesn't have any example of that?
I mean, I would hope that regardless of how you grow up, that people always strive to be the better version of themselves. Like you always hear your parents say, like, I want you to be better than we were, and it's like, I feel a lot of people, they kind of use like how they grew up as like an excuse as to why they are the way they are now. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, I consider myself a very hard worker, and that I feel like that's due to my childhood. My parents are split, so I grew up in two different households at a young age. I was about 3 or 4 when, both my parents remarried. And so, my, in all sets, four of my parents, they're very hardworking people,
Yeah.
like they've worked multiple jobs, just to provide for myself, my siblings, they've done a lot. So like, I feel like they are the epitome of hardworking. They have set some definite good examples for myself, for my siblings. And, I just think like on my mom's side of the family, like in my mom's house, my stepdad is from Texas. So he grew up on a cattle farm. He kind of brought that to Arizona where I'm from,
Yeah.
And so I grew up on a ranch. We had horses, cows. I did pigs for 4-H, we had goats, chickens, the works. Like we had all these animals, and I think I was like 6 years old when I started like shoveling horse shit and feeding, we had 20 plus horses, so I'm like 6, 7 years old and I'm feeding these horses, the wheelbarrow with the flakes. So I'm like, I grew up knowing and doing hard work, knowing like this is what, and then it's like, I don't know. I always had chores growing up. Like there was just certain things that I had to do.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that really kind of, I don't know. I think it like sets you up in the future. It shows you like you work hard, you get rewarded, and I feel like people appreciate those who do work hard.
Yeah.
I always like try to, I mean, I don't want to like go above and beyond, especially if I'm only getting paid to do a certain amount of work. Like I'm not going to go above and beyond and do extra, because like if you're going to pay me extra, then okay, we can talk. But
Yeah, difference
at the
in
same time,
difference in hard work and just being stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. But I definitely do feel there is a lot of lazy people out there too.
Yeah.
And it's like there are people who have to like pick up your slack at the end of the day if you're not going to go do it.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I mean, and like whenever you first told me kind of like your upbringing, like I was, like impressed, like kind of like just, I had admired like hearing a lot of it because, I grew up, my mom a really hard worker. My dad like was a hard worker, just, never stayed on one track.
Mm-hmm.
So I had two good examples, one example, work hard and be consistent and stay somewhere and grind and show your kids and stuff that that's the correct way to do it. And then another example of, yeah, put your nose down and work hard, but inconsistency. So I kind of had a little bit of both on each side of hard work, but one consistent, one not. And I feel like that, growing up and then getting into adulthood where I had to make decisions on my own and, survive and, deal with stressful situations, like emotions that I never felt before. Like my mom's side, like really helped me, like just remembering like all the shit that she put up with. And, I'm not going to speak on her like experience, but it was just a lot of shit for like someone, and she's not a big person, not a huge person, but a lot of attitude, so like I knew for me that's how I overcame like certain things, certain like situations, was just have an attitude to get over that. So like that's what helped me, become a hard worker and just know that like nothing comes easy. Where like you might see it in the world where a handful of people just get things handed to them and you think like, man, like why can't that be me? But if you're brought up as a hard worker, that can be you.
Yeah.
But that, hey, that's not your path. Your path is the hard work. Like your path is day in, day out, and that's how you're gonna make it.
I feel like it's more meaningful to achieve something when you have grinded and pushed through like the rut, the struggle.
And you could definitely, you tell in people's attitude if someone's a hard worker to get where they are at now. A lot of people, if you didn't work hard to get there, if it was handed to you or luck, like you struck some kind of luck and you're just there, those kind of people you can tell like
Ungrateful.
Ungrateful. They don't appreciate it. They're not bringing in the people that were around them that helped them get there, because there was nobody.
Yeah.
They just got lucky or whatever. The people that work hard for it, they're bringing their friends in, their family members, like, hey, you were there for me when times got rough, or you were my example. Like, I'm gonna, let me get you something. Let me bring you in, to my life that I've worked hard for now. So yeah. And then to speak about lazy people, I mean, I think it gets worse like by the day, like you say, like we have our own full-time jobs. And, we're doing this, and we have Jasmine, our dog, and we have our families. Your family is a lot further away than mine, but we still have to like maintain communication with them, make sure they're okay, make sure if they need anything, like we can be there to, give it to them and stuff like that. And yet we still manage to like make shit happen. And some people have like a percentage of, what we have going on in their life. And it's just like, oh, let me go to work, wherever that is for however long, come home and like, forget all the chores, forget all like, forget like, stopping in, checking in with my family, my friends, like forget all that. I'm just going to go come home, take a nap, wake up, watch some TV, maybe, 9 times out of 10, probably not cook for myself. I'm just going to go get some like bullshit food, come back, eat it, watch some TV, go to sleep. And like but they want more out of life.
Yeah.
They're looking at you, the hard worker, and they're like, man, why does he have all that? Why does she have all that? Why is their life so stable? They're having so much fun, like, and it's because they work hard. So those people are always going to be envious of you, but it's literally, they're not there with you because they're lazy. That's literally the answer. You're just lazy. You don't put the time in, you don't put the effort. And the second that you start doing that, you'll be step for step with that person that is a hard worker and where you want to be. So, I mean, that's, to me, growing up, with a hard worker, raising you or whatever, or just being in that environment is, I don't want to say it's detrimental, because you can get that mentality on your own, but I think it's really detrimental for like whoever raises you to, not show you that kind of mentality. I think it just kind of not ruins you, but it does say
I feel like it sets you up for failure.
It sets you up for failure for sure. And
especially like if you're pretty much catered to all your life and like you're babied, your parents baby you and they do anything and everything for you. And it's like when you get to adulthood, you don't know how to act. I feel like you don't know how to take care of yourself because you never had to.
Yeah.
You always had someone there for you around the corner, wiping up your messes, washing your clothes for you. Like there's literally like grown ass people who like don't fucking do their own laundry. Like their mom will like come over and do their fucking laundry. And I'm like, do you even know how to turn on your washing machine? Like,
Yeah,
do you know where the soap goes?
yeah,
Like,
it's
you got like fucking 3-year-olds out here these days doing their own laundry, you know?
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, if that's you, that's cool. If that works for you, that's cool. But I mean, like, I feel like I can't personally be around you, like, because we will not be on the same wavelength. Like, we will have nothing in common because I've grown up my entire life knowing what hard work is and, like, making sure that I've always been on that path. Like, you work for what you want. If whatever I have, like, or whatever we have, we've worked hard to get that, you know? It's like nothing was ever just given to us. Like, any of this shit in this house, anything that we have, like, no, like we are not just given anything, you know? I feel like I've always been taught, like, if you want something, you work for it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And I mean, that this is like to me, it's a vital part for everyone watching because, you know, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of you guys watching are going to have kids or you have kids right now. And whatever age they're at, you know, maybe you've been doing it wrong. Maybe you've been setting the wrong example and not doing things the right way. So, you know, to hear us speak and hear our experiences and how we think on it, I hope a lot of you guys agree. And if you're not implementing it into your, you know, parenting style, I hope you guys do make that switch and, you know, show your kids that hard work is the way to go and the way to be successful and to not expect handouts. You know, that's
I would also like to know too, like those who have kids, like what are you doing to implement that with your children? You know, how do you teach them, make them, you know, productive members of society for the future? You know, what are you doing? Because I mean, I know together we don't have kids. You know, you have, you know, you're a beautiful girl and you know, she lives with her mom or whatever, but you know, she's a polite, hardworking little girl. You know, I feel like she's been taught, you know, the right way.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just curious, like, what do other parents do? Like, what are you teaching your child? You know, I would love to know that.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, and don't be afraid to give us, you know, your experiences, feedback, whatever, on all the things we discussed, you know, from micromanaging to people switching up and, you know, ultimately to growing up with a hard worker experience or not, you know, let us know everything. Because, you know, like I said, that's what we're here for. We're here to help and, you know, and guide you guys the way, you know, through lessons that we've learned. And that's what's, you know, the important message behind what we're doing right now. You know, so, you know, make sure you guys do show your support, you know, like, comment, subscribe. And anytime you see us put something out there, share it to someone else. Maybe it's not going to reach someone unless you share it to them. And it could be very helpful to them. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and ultimately, you know, share and just keep the support going. This is the Unrestricted Podcast because here with us,
Anything goes.
peace.
Peace.